License plate readers have become ubiquitous. There are hundreds, if not thousands of them in our state. Well, your investigator, Sean Boyd, told us yesterday how they're collecting and storing vast troves of data on not only criminal suspects, but innocent people as well. Tonight, she looks at what's being done to regulate them.
When law enforcement wants to track someone using GPS or cell phone data, they need a warrant based on probable cause. But if they want to track someone using thousands of cameras mounted on light poles and police cars nationwide, they don't. There's no federal or state law in Colorado regarding license plate readers, which have been misused and abused in some cases. A year and a half after the Marshall Fire, Louisville police began getting reports of burglaries at building sites. In an attempt to catch the crooks, they installed 20 license plate readers in neighborhoods like Tanya Samaru's.
The construction winds down, we all move in, the flock cameras are still there.
Cameras City Council has now deactivated after Samaru discovered they were being tapped by federal immigration agents, despite the police department's website saying they only shared in state.
And it was clear that there were multiple software settings and there was some confusion.
Curious, Samaru began digging into the company that makes the cameras, Flock Safety. In addition to still cameras, it has video cameras and audio detection. Its license plate readers will soon stream live video. Samaru pulled a patent showing the company is able to use its video to track not only vehicles but people based on race, gender, height, weight, and clothing, then aggregate it to develop profiles of individuals and timelines of their travels.
I signed up for safety, but I did not sign up for a private company to be photographing and recording conversations between me and my children in my neighborhood and doing whatever they want with the data.
I do want people's privacy to be protected.
State Senator Judy Amabile is considering legislation to limit how the cameras are used and how the data is shared.
In criminal matters, people are innocent until they are proven guilty. And if we try to turn that on its head in the name of public safety, then I think no one is safe.
Amabile says police should only be allowed to share camera data if another agency has a warrant based on probable cause. She also wants to limit out-of-state and internal access. Kansas investigators found 2 officers use the cameras to stalk women.
I would hate to see a really valuable tool get limited by speculation and worst-case scenarios.
Aurora Police Chief Todd Chamberlain insists the benefits of the technology outweigh the risks.
The technology, if it's monitored, if it's documented with what they can and cannot do within the policy and procedure, if the rules and regulations are followed.
Do you have those rules and regulations? I mean, do you limit who has access, how they access it? Is that tracked?
All of it's tracked. Again, all the records, all the things that are done for all the information that gets supplied, we can track back who acted on that, who was involved in that particular aspect, what they used it for. I've terminated people very recently based upon them getting into information and data that they should not have gotten into.
He says Aurora's camera data, which he shares with agencies nationwide, has helped locate stolen vehicles and murder suspects.
It's not the end all. It gives information. But that information has to be acted on by an officer.
And verified, he says. But 4 years ago, Aurora police held an innocent family at gunpoint after a camera wrongly flagged their SUV as a stolen motorcycle from out of state.
Unfortunately, those things do happen. There are women with families that steal cars. That is an outlier. That is not the norm. If we have the opportunity to use new technology in more improved and effective ways, that doesn't inhibit someone's civil liberties, but instead inhibits somebody from victimizing somebody else, I really ask the question of why wouldn't you embrace something like that?
It's not about the police locally having this data, it's about the whole universe of the data and that you're connecting more and more and more of it. And it is very dystopian.
Samaru says preventing police from sharing data without a warrant is just a start.
I think we need a law preventing companies from location tracking people and protections about aggregating data about people. I would like to feel like I'm not a price tag walking around for some company to make money off of, or a target to be misunderstood, to be flagged in some database as some crime risk, and that gets pretty scary.
Flock Safety contacted me after yesterday's story and says nationwide, its technology has been used in more than 6,000 communities and has been credited with helping solve over 10% of reported crime in the U.S. It says its mission is to give communities tools that support public safety while respecting local laws and community values. It says it's even helped pass laws in some communities. 2 members of Congress have now launched an investigation into Flock Safety. Sean Boyd, covering Colorado First.